Hi, this is Chelsea at Starbucks and Books Obsession, and this is my Ho Ho Read-a-Thon recap. The Ho Read-a-Thon is hosted by Kimba, the Caffeinated Reviewer, and Jennifer at the Body Book Blog. And this is my first year participating, so this is my first year blogging, but I really liked, as soon as I saw the signups for this, I knew I had to join because I love the holiday season. I absolutely love watching Christmas movies, so I loved the idea of being able to also read some Christmas books. So I was super excited to join in on this, and I know I've said super excited like a billion times, so just ignore that. Also, I may have listened to Christmas music while I was reading these, no judgment. I know a lot of people are like, oh, it's not even Thanksgiving yet, but hey, it's the holiday season, so we only get to celebrate once a year. So for my reads, I read 4 novellas. I read 4 of the 12 NAs of Christmas. These are some new novella books that have come out in kind of a series by some new adult authors, so I read 4 of them for this. And the 4 that I read is A Warmth and Ice by A. Meredith Walters, Cross Country Christmas by Tiffany King, Off the Market by Megan Vernon, and Christmas Catch by Chelsea Cameron. So those are the 4 that I got a chance to read, and I loved the idea of reading some novellas for this readathon since it's just over the weekend, because that gave me the chance to add in a couple more reads. Instead of only being able to read 1 or 2 Christmas books, I got to read 4 different Christmas stories, and also I was able to fit in some reading for my review books next week as well. So it kind of made it easy. I took a break between reading review books to read the novellas, so that was kind of fun. And then I could listen to a little bit of Christmas music as well, so I really enjoyed that. So the first one that I read is Christmas Catch. And actually it's not the first one I read, but it's the first one I'm going to talk about. So A Christmas Catch is by Chelsea Cameron, and this one is about a girl named Ivy, and she goes off to Columbia University for college, and she's, for the first time in 2 years, she's coming home for Christmas to see her family. She's from a small town, and she happens to inadvertently run into her high school sweetheart, who was also supposed to be gone for off to college as well. She wasn't expecting to see him, but she ends up running into him, and I'm sure you can guess what's going to happen. You know, the holiday spirit ensues and they reconnect, so I won't give away any more than what you probably figure is already going to happen. But I really enjoyed it. This is my first Chelsea Cameron book. I've been wanting to read one for a while. I'm glad that I started with this one because it gave me a little sense as to what her writing's like, what kind of character she develops, and I really liked it. I really liked her writing. It was really great. It's the kind of writing that I love, so I was really excited about that. As well as I felt like she did a really good job of showing me who these characters were, and I was able to get a sense of them and what they're kind of like in such a short book. And I think that's really great if an author can do that with a novella. So I'm really glad that I read this one. I really enjoyed it. The next one that I'm going to talk about is A Warmth and Ice by A. Meredith Walters. See the cover? Pretty. And I really like this one too. This is part of the Light in the Dark series, or not the Light in the Dark series, Find You in the Dark series. And this is one of my favorite contemporary romance series. So if you haven't read the Find You in the Dark series, I highly recommend it. If you have, but you haven't read this novella yet, you should. Because I'm sure if you've read it, you know Clay and Maggie and you love them as much as I do. So this is a great novella that kind of shows, it's their first Christmas together, so it shows how they solidified their relationship from the end of Light and Shadows, between that point and the epilogue that was in Light and Shadows. So it falls in between that time period. And obviously if you've read it, you know that Maggie and Clay have a lot of insecurities in their relationship. They have a very rocky relationship, and even though Light in the Shadows ended well, you know that there's always, just from reading the series, you know that there's always going to be a lot of work that they're going to have to do together. So I really enjoyed this novella. It was great closure and great to get a little bit more of Clay and Maggie, so I'm glad that I read that one. The next one that I'm going to talk about is Cross Country Christmas by Tiffany King. Pretty cover. And I loved this one. This one was like one of those sappy Christmas movies that you see on like the Lifetime channel or the Hallmark, and I absolutely adore those. I love watching those at Christmas time, and I swear the plot of this is just like one of those movies, so it could be made into a movie, Christmas movie. Basically, Jamie and Grant went to high school together. They grew up in a small town together, and 4 years ago she left, and she's on her way back to spend the holidays with her family, and she happens to be on the same flight as Grant. And let's just say things happen. They're not able to get on their flight, and they end up having to try and get back home together. And my favorite thing about this story was the fact that you could tell Jamie was so strong and independent, but she was a complete klutz around Grant. I swear, and everything that could happen to embarrass her in front of him did. And that was so entertaining because he just kind of took it with stride, and she just kept embarrassing herself. And I really enjoyed just reading the book. It was great. It was really, really cute. It was sweet. It was romantic. Just fun. You should read it. Just read it. And I've also reviewed this one already, so if you want to see my review, you can check it out. I've posted the link below this vlog. I've also reviewed A Warmth and Ice as well, so if you want to read that review, the link's there too. The last one that I want to talk about that I read over the readathon was Off the Market by Megan Vernon. I don't know if you can see that. Kind of hard. There we go. And Off the Market was really, really cute. Of the four, it was probably the most undeveloped novella that I read. I didn't really get a real great sense of who the characters were, and it was probably the shortest, so maybe if it had been a little bit longer, there could have been a little bit more development there. But it really only spanned over like a one-day period, so it's not like there was a lot, like it was a long time and there just wasn't anything that was happening. And it was still really cute. I really enjoyed it. It was a great, quick Christmas read, and I like Megan's writing. I like every book I've read of hers. I've really enjoyed. So this was no exception. I just felt like compared to the other three, it wasn't as developed, and it wasn't as long. But it was still really good. And my review of that will be coming out later this week as part of the ARC review tour, as well as my review of Christmas Catch. So if you want to check those out, you can stop back by later this week and see those. But those are my Ho 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 Read-a-Thon books, and that is my recap. So thanks for stopping by.